Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees. Well, in this episode, we're going to bring back an old friend, Kass, from the Kass Talk Show. But before we get to that, there's an important question for the Yankees. Who's on first? So shortly after the Donaldson trade, again, when they shipped out Gary Sanchez, the Yankees bring back Anthony Rizzo on a 2-year deal, which was kind of surprising. Supposedly, the Cubs, last year offered him like a 5-year, $70 million extension. He turned it down, so you didn't think he would take a 2-year deal. But it turns out he does take a 2-year deal, $36 million total, so that's $18 million per year. Very reasonable deal for the Yankees. I mean, again, you don't have to give him much a long-term contract. He's still a young guy, 32 years old, so he's still in his prime. And you kind of had the sense that was going to happen. Just seemed like the feedback that, he enjoyed his short time here. The Yankees liked him. Again, he fits in as a glove as a first baseman, left-handed bat. You don't have to tell you all this for the short porch at Yankee Stadium. Kind of fits like a glove. And again, amongst some of the other options the Yankees had out there for first base, he was the most, reasonable and the most lowest cost one. So he'll be back as a Yankees. Now, the only tricky thing part is that supposedly he's one of these unvaccinated players. And, of course, now in New York City, de Blasio left us a good bomb on the way out the door. He was such a terrible mayor that with this whole vaccine mandate. And as we all know with Kyrie Irving and the Nets, he can't play home games. If visiting players were not vaccinated could play. So now supposedly both Rizzo and Judges of the two Yankees who aren't vaccinated. So there's going to be a situation where if the season starts, are they going to be able to play? So supposedly Randy Levine is working with Mayor Adams to try to get that lifted. We'll see how it goes. And of course, people are going to say hypocrisy because, basketball, mostly black players. Why are you putting that thing in? And then baseball, more white players, but you'll lift the ban. So that's going to be a whole issue. Expect that to come down the corner. But until all that's settled, yes, the Yankees will have Rizzo as their first baseman. Now, again, there were some other first baseman option out there. The Yankees were kicking the tires on Matt Olson, possibly a trade with Oakland. Now, he probably would have been the better option in terms of what he could produce, but of course, you would have to trade to get him, and you'd probably have to give up a boatload, which would include the Yankees prospect Anthony Volpe as their top guy, shortstop, and supposedly should be the future of the franchise at shortstop. But the problem with Olson, again, it would include a bundle. Now you're hearing mixed stories that supposedly the Yankees wouldn't include Volpe, or perhaps now you're hearing other stories that the Yankees did include Volpe, but Oakland didn't value him as high as the Yankees do, and supposedly the Braves offered a better package. So ultimately, Oakland traded Matt Olson to the Braves. He was off the table for the Yankees. Again, is he a little better than Rizzo? Yes, but you look what we'd have to give up to get him. You have to give a lot of prospects, and then once Olson would be a free agent, well, to justify giving up your prospects, you're going to have to give him a big mega contract, which you'll probably get at the time. So I'm okay with the move. Okay to let Olson go. Yes, it would have been a little bit better than Rizzo, but again, compare what you have to give, what you get, and with Rizzo, with Rizzo, it's just money for 2 years. I'm okay with that option. And then thirdly, the other big name out there was Freddie Freeman, who ultimately ended up signing with the LA Dodgers, 6 years for over $160 million. Looking at making about $27 million per year. I didn't think the Yankees were going to do that deal, and you really had whispers that really Yankees were serious there. Again, I'm okay letting that go. Yes, great play, hit like 31 home runs last season, just coming off a World Series championship. But again, he's 32 years old, the same age as Rizzo. And instead of just having Rizzo for 2 years, well, then you would have to commit to this guy for 6 years and him play until he's like 37, 38 years old. So again, he's a straight up money. You don't have to give any prospects, but I'm okay. Again, compared to two of them, Freeman's probably a little bit better than Rizzo, a little bit, maybe more than slightly. But again, you would have to shell out probably more than $160 million just because with the taxes in New York. He would probably cost the Yankees like $180, $190 million. And I just don't think the Yankees would go there for Freeman. So, yeah, I'm okay letting him go. I'm okay, and I'm, again, okay having Rizzo as the first baseman. Now, at shortstop, which, again, the Yankees kind of need until Volpe does come up and it could prove himself. We don't know if he can prove himself, that they were interested in possibly bringing Carlos Correa in as a free agent, again, from the enemy Astros. But surprisingly, he ends up with the Twins on a surprising 3-year deal, but for $105 million, so he's making like $35 million a year. But it's only a 3-year deal, and usually for the Twins, they don't really make these big type of blockbuster moves with big money. But now it all kinds of makes sense why they wanted to unload Donaldson's contract to the Yankees. And again, bringing in Correa, and for Correa, it's actually a pretty good deal if you think about it. He's not it's not the typical 7 or 8 year deal that a lot of these free agents get. But if you look at it, he's only 27 years old. It's 3 years, so he again will be a free agent very shortly. So again, maybe at some other point he could, maybe the market changes, and instead of making $35 million a year, he could find a way to make $40 million a year. Who knows? So smart move by him, and again, surprising on the hands of the Twins. Now with Correa, he's a great player. I didn't want him with the Yankees. I just didn't think they needed his right-handed power bat. He got plenty of that. And plus, he just has a little bit of an attitude problem. He made those comments about Jeter with the gold glove. And it says, I don't know, I just didn't want this guy in here. So if he was going to Minnesota, fine, go out there. It's a huge, humongous ballpark. Kind of hard to hit home runs. So hopefully his stats go into the dirt. And also by him leaving the Astros, it hurts the Astros to make them that much weaker. So good news for the Yankees. And with Rizzo locked in for the Yankees, you knew the writing was on the wall for Luke Voit, and unfortunately he was no longer with the Yankees. But it's the best thing for him. It's not that I didn't like the guy, but there's just no room for him. So he got shipped out to the San Diego Padres for pitching prospect Justin Lang. I don't know if he's related to Artie Lang, the comedian. Probably not. Lang, not really much on him. 20 years old, supposedly he could hit 102 miles per hour on the radar gun, which is great, but a lot of people can do that. Had some knee issues as well, some control problems. So again, he's just a raw talent. We don't know what's going to be up with him. But the Yankees were pretty much willing to give him away for anything because they had to get Luke Voit off the roster because there's no room for him. And it's a good move for the Yankees. Put him out in San Diego, National League, West Coast. You don't have to see the guy anymore. It's not like you're going to bump into him against like the Orioles or Boston and have to see his face 15 times a season. He'll be out west, and I think it's a good move for him. It just seemed once they got Rizzo last trade deadline that Luke's Voit time here was going to be was short, and he kind of knew it. We all knew it, and the deal happened. So he could go out there and hopefully, man, he could flourish and be good. And for Voit last season wasn't good for him. A lot of injuries out of the gate. Needed surgery just before he started the season, and it's never really got it going. And it's just of the two, it just it basically came down to Rizzo or Voit. Who do you want? And Rizzo defensively is the better first baseman. He has that left-handed bat, which the Yankees need. And you just kind of think to yourself, all right, if you're in a playoff game and you have a runner on third base, and you just need someone to make contact to get the runner in, who's going to do a better job, Rizzo or Voit? Voit's probably going to strike out, and Rizzo will probably get the runner in. So there you go, justify that. And for Voit, again, great Yankee, great trade. Cashman bringing him in here. They got what they got out of him. Same with Gio, and then they ship him off at a good time. And again, hopefully Voit can have a flourish elsewhere. And of course, it makes sense just because, you have DJ LeMahieu, who the Yankees getting signed last offseason for a 6-year deal. Well, you're going to have him around for another 5 seasons. So again, just with, the infield crowded as it is, it was just no room with Voit. So now you kind of get a little bit picture how they're going to be using DJ. They bring over Donaldson, who's, again, he's going to probably get the bulk of time at third base. But, of course, he's going to need some days off. Again, he's 36 years old. He was able to hold it for about 130 and change games last season, so he's going to need some days off. So DJ could play a little third, which we saw him do last season. And of course, Rizzo, maybe if the Yankees are playing a tough lefty, and/or if this Rizzo needs a day off here or there, you'll see DJ at first base, which we've seen DJ do. And of course, we know DJ can play second base, which he's done for the Yankees now. Gleyber Torres, probably he's a younger guy, so he's not going to need a ton of days off. But again, once in a while, you need to spell him, or just maybe he pulls a hammy or pulls a quad, and he's going to be out for a week or two. DJ can hold down the fort. So I'm sure they're going to find ways to get DJ to work him in there. And again, he's coming back from an injured 2021 season. So DJ may want to hit the ground running right away. So he may need some time to get his stamina up, and then again, they'll probably find spots for him around the infield. So that's probably where you're going to see DJ bouncing around. And with all of that out of the way, it's time for our guest. We had him last season. His name is Kass from the Kass Talk Show. He's here to discuss some of these moves. So let's bring him on. Hey, Kass, welcome back to the show.
Hey, James. Thanks for having me back.
Now, fans may remember we had you on just around the same time last year, a little before spring training, but it was kind of a different situation because now, obviously, this year we had a kind of a smaller spring training just with the lockout and everything. But yeah, it was great. It's great having you back. You provided some great insight before the season, and again, I want to get your opinion on a few things because now the Yankees have been making some moves lately, just kind of scrambling around. So, just what are your initial thoughts of the Yankee off season so far?
This team right now, it's a third place team. They're not better than Toronto or Tampa. So for the Yankees right now, I'm just hoping there's more moves to come because we do need pitching badly.
Yeah, I'm okay with the bullpen, but yeah, the starting rotations is a little thin because you're looking at, Severino, who's all right. He was good last year when he came back, but he was only pitching out of the bullpen. He hasn't been a starter pitcher in a little bit more than 2 seasons. And you're also counting on like Taillon coming back and being healthy, which I think will be okay, but I don't think he's going to be ready to start the season. You need Nestor Cortez to kind of repeat what he did last year. And, if you look at someone like Jordan Montgomery, he's okay, but at best, he's just a number 4 start. He's not really special. So, yeah, man, of the pitching area, I think the bullpen's okay. But, yeah, I do worry about the starting rotation.
Yeah, I mean, after Cole, I do believe Severino should be in the bullpen. I think he found his niche with his explosive arm. I'm not relying on him as a starting pitcher. I do like Montgomery. Tyone, he has to show that he's healthy. And Nestor Cortez also, he should be in the bullpen as a long man, a lefty specialist. But besides that, they're kind of short on starters, and injuries played a big part with this team last year. So I'm hoping that hopefully they could add a couple of pieces. I know they're in the mix for Frankie Montas and Sean Manaea from Oakland. I'm hoping we can land one of them or both. I don't know what it's going to take to get them. Uh, for me, I'm not big on prospects. If you have to give up the boat to win, you got to win now. I'm willing to do it, but Cashman and Hell, they're resisting not to give up the prospects. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and of course, another kick in the arm. Just recently, Herman went down. So he's going to be on the DL for about 60 days. Or the IL now, they have to call it. So again, to see another good piece that we're kind of relying on. So yeah, I mean, the starting rotation is probably going to be a little shaky out of the gate. And plus, starting pitches, just in general in the April aren't stretched out yet, and they can only barely go 4 or 5 innings. So it's probably going to be a little ugly early on in the season.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's going to matter in how they start off. They can't fall far back behind. I know the offense can carry them, but how much can the offense do? And you can't burn out your bullpen in April already if these pitchers are going to go like, after Cole, everybody else could be like 4 innings, 5 innings, and the pitch count could be high, and you have to go to your bullpen early. It's not a good strategy. So the more pitchers you have, the depth, the more it helps out your bullpen and gives you confidence to score more runs and help pitch more deep into the games.
I guess you kind of lend your hand before where you say you should give up a boatload of prospects to bring in a big piece. So I guess in terms of Matt Olson, would have you pulled the trigger on that and give them maybe perhaps a Volpe or something to get that deal done?
Yes, I was all in on Matt Olson. I was all in on Olson, Chapman, Montas, Manaea, Ramon Laureano, Sean Murphy. I would have gave up Volpe, and Volpe right now, he better be the next A-Rod or the next Jeter or somebody, or Nomar Garcia Parra. But we saw it. I mean, examples: Clint Frazier, Miguel Andujar. We lost. They didn't trade them when they had high talented prospect in order to them to trade them, because we could have got Garrett Cole a long time ago. All they had to do was give up Frazier and Andujar and a couple of prospects, but I don't know what to say. I really wanted Matt Olson. I really wanted him real bad, but since he went to the Braves, I'm happy with Anthony Rizzo coming back. I know we weren't on Freeman. I know that wasn't happening. And now Correa, he just fell out of the market, which by surprise went to the Twins. But I was all in on Olson. I really liked him. I liked his bat. I liked his defense. Would have fit perfect in Yankee Stadium, but they're hesitant to give up the prospects. So I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I think the organization maybe just like shell shocked from like many decades ago of giving up Jay Buhner for Ken Phelps, and maybe just still decades later they can't think of that. But yeah, I think of some of the situations, even back in 2010, I think they went to part ways with Ivan Nova, who was at kind of high, and they miss out on Cliff Lee. If we had Cliff Lee in 2010, we definitely repeating as World Series champion. Said he goes to Texas, and then it's a totally different story.
Yeah, I remember that 2010 year. We almost had a deal for Cliff Lee, but it didn't work out. Texas jumped in and they snagged them and helped them get to the World Series. And, I know they would have went back-to-back champions in 2009, 2010 if we had Cliff Lee. And it just, I don't know the Yankee plan now. It's different now. It's not George Steinbrenner's team, Hal Steinbrenner's team. He's a businessman. I respect it. I respect always Cashman, but Yankees have to do some moves. I mean, the American League is tough. You got the White Sox, you got Toronto, Tampa, New York, Boston, probably. Tigers are up in the mix. You still got the Astros. You still got the Angels. You got Seattle now trying to make that push for the playoffs. Texas, they're spending all this money, but they're nothing good but a fourth place team. So, it's very competitive, very, very, very competitive, to where New York has to find a way to keep balance with the American League.
But I'm also on the same page with you. I think, it was a good consolation prize. I'm happy they brought back Rizzo again. Maybe Olson's the better player by, a significant margin, but Rizzo's not terrible as well. So if you're going to have, at least we get Rizzo. It's not the worst thing in the world. I know wasn't really down with giving like Freddie Freeman all that money for like a long, I mean, he's already 32 years old. which, I guess in baseball terms, you kind of, you're going to be stuck with the guy till he's 38. And I didn't like that move, but I like Rizzo for 2 years. That kind of makes sense.
Yeah, Rizzo, I liked him the minute we acquired him, just like we acquired Joey Gallo last year, and I think a full year in pinstripes. I think they're going to put up very good numbers in New York. Rizzo, to me, thank God they traded Luke Voigt. I love DJ LeMahieu, but I can't see him at first base. For me, it's not just about the offense; it's about defense. And Anthony Rizzo's a premier Gold Glove at first base, to where he can catch the tough throws and get the outs. That's what was very important to me. Plus, he's a left-handed bat, in which I like in Yankee Stadium. So Rizzo's actually a big plus. I'm happy we bought him back.
No, no, he's perfect fit there. I totally agree. And also, once they brought Rizzo back, you knew the writing was on the wall with Void because, again, there's just no room for him. You still have DJ signed for another 5 years, which, again, he's going to platoon a little bit at first base. You got Donaldson now at third base for another 2 seasons. Where's Void going to play? You can't put him on the bench. He's too good to be in the minors. So it's like, it's not fair to just keep him around for nothing. So you knew that move was going to go down.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody sensed that he was going to get traded. I always like Voigt's bat, but defensively, he's terrible. It's a nightmare watching him at first base.
And not only that, he just strikes out a lot and stuff like that. It's just like, he's kind of like the epitome of the way this whole team is. Just, very right-handed, good, but strikes out a lot, stuff like that. I'd rather have someone like Rizzo, again, probably more apt to make contact and give you probably better quality at bat.
True. They got flexibility now. I don't know about the catcher spot. I know we have to go with Higashioka now. Now with the trade that they acquired from the Twins, the guy just had an oblique injury. Those are tricky. I don't know how serious it is, but there's a weakness at catcher also. So
yeah, actually on the same page with you with the catching position. I think it's very thin. Like defensively, Higgy's okay. That's how but the guy that has gotten in the deal as well. I mean, he was just a rookie last year. He played like 30 games. I mean, you don't know much about him. He only batted like 169. So, you don't need your catcher to be Mike Piazza, but you also need some offense there. And I think Cashman will bring in a few people in maybe just during the spring training to create some competition and stuff like that. Because you can't just go in with those two guys as you catch it. Because I think like Higgy, when they gave him the job, when they took time away from Sanchez, he was barely batting 150. So he was nothing special himself.
Yeah, I'm not high on Higashioka. I was a big supporter of Gary Sanchez. I really am. And I think a change of scenery is going to really help him. And I think he's going to do very well. It's hard to see him go, but, his time was up and they had to make the move. Gio Urshela, same thing, great defensive player. I like him as defensively, but to me, he's a utility player. And we got Donaldson. If Donaldson's not hurt, if he stays healthy, I know he had a calf issue, but you got to look at Donaldson's career. He played with Oakland, Toronto, the Atlanta Braves, the Cleveland Guardians now, and now with the Twins, and now he's in New York. If he's healthy, it's another big bet to the lineup to protect Judge and Stanton and the Gallos and the Rizzos. Defensively, he's okay. He's not bad, but I look forward to having Donaldson in that lineup, and I think he's going to put up big numbers in New York.
No, I think he improves their lineup a little bit. I don't think it was like I call the move a B+ move, not like an A+ move. It's good. I think it improves the offense because Gary Sanchez, he hit his home runs, but he was also a 200 hitter and struck out a ton. We're getting Donaldson, who was a former MVP player from 2015. Okay, he's not that good anymore, but he's still much better hitter than Gary Sanchez is.
Now with this, since the strike is over, you got players they have to sign real quick and try to get into game shape and everything. I remember talking about it last time on your show that I was scared about the strike and it happened. Well, now I'm glad it's over. That's all I'm happy about.
Yeah, it definitely went on longer than I thought. So also the Yankees, I think two big question marks are going to be, you mentioned before, DJ LeMahieu. I mean, the DJ we saw last year, that wasn't him. He must have been hurt the whole season. So do you think he could bounce back and be the DJ, we saw in 2019 and 2020, as well as Aaron Hicks? I mean, is there any expectation we get a full season out of him?
Okay, for DJ LeMahieu, he had a hernia surgery. Everybody knows I know what it's like to have a hernia. It's bad, and you can't play, especially in baseball, trying to field grounders and all that. It's very hard, and I believe his down year really was caused by his injury. Now, a healthy DJ LeMahieu, everybody knows what he can do. He's an MVP type player, high batting average, can lead off the top of the order of the lineup, leading off. The only thing is that when the Yankees signed him, he was known as a utility guy. Well, he might be back in that role actually, because if they don't trade Gleyber Torres is going to be our starting second baseman. And as for Aaron Hicks, I'm not a fan of him, never was. He's hurt a lot. I'm hoping he stays healthy. They are going to need him. Cashman's relying on him. The team's relying on him. I I don't know what to expect. I'm just hoping that he's healthy, and uh, I'll find out after if he gets past April. I mean,
Yeah.
he's been hurt a lot, so I mean, he's hard to count on. But if he's healthy, and let's say he plays 140, 130 games, I mean, he could put up 20 home runs. His swing is still good for Yankee Stadium. He could hit home runs. He could drive in. He has speed, but key is health. With this team, it's always health. But Aaron Hicks, he hasn't played much in the last couple of years. But LeMahieu, I'm very happy. I think we're going to see a bounce back here from DJ LeMahieu.
No, I totally agree with that. And yeah, of the two of them, I definitely expect DJ to be back. Hicks is like, he says had some bad luck. One was a Tommy John surgery, which for an outfielder is like, what? And then, of course, last year with the torn tendon in the wrist. But I agree. Yeah, having him in the lineup is great because then you have three legit bats with Hicks, Gallo, and Rizzo, three guys that can hit more than 20 home runs. That just makes the lineup that much better. So, yeah, if you get him in there. So, and also now they're saying that keeping the Yankees are keeping Brett Gardner's old locker open just in case he comes in. I mean, should they give this guy another shot, or is this like they got to move on? What do you think?
Well, we talked about this last year, and they brought him back. So I think they're bringing him back again. So let me just say, I think they are bringing him back. But this time, hopefully he's just a backup outfielder. He's not playing 130 games.
Yeah. Well, it's never the plan, but this happens as Hicks always gets hurt and he gets thrown in there. But I don't know. It's just like I like the guy, I like the longevity, but like last season was tough. Like he went more than a month before hitting his first home run. He was batting like 180 for most of the season. Like he had an okay August, September, but it's like if you're gonna have a guy down this roster, he's got to produce. And last year he did not produce.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if age caught up with him, but if they keep it open, I mean, I'm fine with it. But they got Tim LaCastro, a speedy guy that could play all outfield position. They signed him to a major league deal, and they signed another center fielder that got released from the Braves, but they got him on a minor league deal. It's Ender Inciarte, I think. Ender Inciarte, I think so. That's another young guy. So, I mean, it's all in Cashman's hands. If he wants to bring him back, they bring him back. If they don't, they got two reliable. They got Estevan Florial too, also in the minors, which I like if they just give him a chance. But time will tell. It's all in Cashman's hands.
Yeah, and I think with Gleyber, I think they're going to hold on to him because I just think they figure like they look back at September when they moved him back to second base. He started hitting a little better, and they figure, all right, maybe we'll get the Gleyber we used to have, back in 2018 when he was playing second base and he was like an all-star player. This seemed like the move to shortstop just got into his head, and he was making defensive miscues as well as this wasn't the same player at the plate. So I think they're going to keep him and just hope he gets back to his old form.
Yeah, I think he's going to bounce back. I do believe playing shortstop really messed him up mentally. It messed him up at the plate. I think overthinking while playing defense. I think now at second base, he played very good defense when he was playing second base. He made the routine throws, and then he had a very good year at the plate. I mean, it showed. He was like, hitting over 30 bombs, 100 and something RBIs probably. No, I expect to see the Gleyber of old, and he's still young. I'd hate to give up on him because I'm afraid that it might bite us if we end up trading him. Because I really like Gleyber Torres, I'm a big fan of him, and I don't want him to see him traded. That's why if Gleyber does stay, LeMahieu will be perfect for a utility role where he could play first base, second base, and third base at. Because I believe in Gleyber, I really do.
Yeah, I think the same thing too. I mean, he's only like 25 years old. He's young. You don't want to give up on him yet. He's under control contract wise. So I think that's why it's just better to hold on to him a little bit longer. Whereas someone like Gio Shell's like, that's as good as he's going to get. That's someone you can really part with. It's not, like I said, it's not going to burn you in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, Gio, he has a special heart in Yankee fans, myself included. But he's nothing special. Okay, yeah, he has a great glove, but that's about it. I mean, and we all saw that in the playoffs last year that they weren't hitting, and you needed another big bop in that lineup, and they acquired it with Donaldson if he's healthy, and Donaldson has a proven record. Gio, yes, he had some fond memories here at with the Yankees, playing in front of the New York fans, but For me, he was just a utility player, and good luck with the Twins. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, it'd be good there. And I think DJ is going to be busy because I think Donaldson had like 135 games in the field last season. So, he's not going to play a full 150. So I think DJ will get some time at third base, once in a while at first base. Again, maybe a second base. So again, I think DJ is going to be busy. So they'll find a way to get those bats in. And they kind of say this, even though I don't want to wish this on the team, but these things usually work themselves out. And someone will probably pull a hammy the first week of the season, and then he'll be the first baseman for the first month. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. For me, that's why LeMahieu for me is perfect in the utility role, where a lot of guys are not going to have to play a lot of games. Where out of the 7 days out of the week, LeMahieu could end up playing 5 days a week, and maybe he plays every day, resting guys. He could play all over the infield. That's why I really like his versatility to help out guys like Glaber getting a day off with Donaldson and Anthony Rizzo. Maybe we can DH him. That's what I love about DJ LeMahieu's versatility, including with his bat, and he has good defense too when he's playing second base. Third base, he's okay. He's okay. He showed he could field balls, but first base is a nightmare watching him too. Just like Voit,
Mm.
it was hard watching these guys play first base. When we got Rizzo, everything calmed down because Rizzo is a Gold Glove first baseman.
No, he's the real deal there. So we kind of mentioned before. So we look at this team. It's good. I'm not wowed by the roster. I don't look at it and see, wow, these are World Series champions. But again, hard to say. But where do you see this team fall? Do you think it's an AL East champion? You think this is going to be a wild card team? Where do you think this team's going to be at the end of the day?
Man, it's tough right now because the roster it's not like fully complete, and that's including a lot of teams. That's why there's a lot of free agents. That's why I didn't like this. What happened with the strike? It just paused everything. But if you look at it on paper now and going into the season, they're a third place team. Unless I don't know what to expect from Tampa. But as this team stands right now, no, they're a third place team, and it might be a wild card team again. I know it's a 12-team format now. I do believe the Yankees could get into the playoffs, but they are a threat compared to Toronto, Chicago, the Astros. No, they're not on their level. But if the Yankees get pitching like a Montas and Manaya and help really improve their rotation, yeah, I believe they can be a threat. But their rotation is what scares me. And there's guys, even Garrett Cole. I know he pitched hurt last year. He's not going to give excuses. He took the ball, but after Garrett Cole, it's hard in a playoff format. After the wild card game, if you go into a 5-game series, 7-game series, after Cole, there's question marks. So, no, if they solidify the pitching staff with some good arms after Cole, I'll have confidence with this team and trying to go forward and try to claim that World Series championship. Right now, as the AL championship series right now, as I had to predict right now, I like Toronto and I like Chicago. They're very well stacked.
All right, so we'll see how this falls. So again, Kaz, it's a pleasure to have you back on. Again, people can follow you on Instagram at Kaz Talk. Check you out throughout the whole season with updates. And again, I'm sure there's gonna be some more baseball moves. So definitely check out the handle, get people up to date. Pleasure to speak with you. And again, I hope to have you back soon.
No problem. Thank you, James. Thanks for having me, man. Be safe.
Will do.